Okay, recording this video on Sunday, the 21st of September, 2025. Just gone 4:04 a.m. Chicago time. Do hope you are doing well. So it's the weekend, time for another weekend futures market update, where I go through 15 of the largest futures markets and I show you what I'm seeing on my charts. Actually, this week, it's going to be the E-mini and 8 other markets. I'm going to do things in a little bit of a different order. We're going to talk about some of the trades that set up this week and some of the trades that are going to set up for next week, and there are 4 of each. And before getting to the video and talking about charts, I'm going to warn you, if you are using TradeStation or NinjaTrader on a Mac and using Parallels, do not update to the latest version of Parallels. It's not good, I'm afraid. We've got a new version of the Mac operating system, Tahoe, which is now numbered 26 for 2026, and Parallels have also changed their numbering system to go along with the same Mac numbering system, so that's Parallels 26. And I've had a number of problems with them. First of all, coherence doesn't work, which is where you have a seamless integration between Windows and Mac. It's adding extra spaces. Right-clicking on charts doesn't seem to work on TradeStation. Anyway, it's a mess. So if you have not upgraded to the new versions of Parallels, don't do it. Don't do it. Anyway, just a little bit of a warning. So, how are you doing? I hope you're having a good time trading at the moment. I am not. I'm waiting for this short to set up, and I'm just stuck like a rabbit in the headlights. Not able to take a trade until I see something decent, because I've been waiting for this E-mini trade and not been looking at the other charts in the meantime, which is dumb. But it's coming closer, and we'll see if we get a setup this week for that short on the E-mini, because we're due for something at some point. So talking of the E-mini, let's get to the E-mini charts. We're still in an uptrend. Been for a while, will continue to be for a while until we see blue professional up bars. That's my signal where we got professionals taking profits. On the lower time frames, we're starting to see some of that lineup. I was starting to see a little bit last week, but didn't happen, or didn't get followed through this week. We'll show you that after the Fed announcement. The daily time frame chart, the background's in red. We're in an uptrend in terms of price and volume. We're above the blue professional bars, and we've got red bars on better sine waves. So cyclically, we're breaking above resistances, which means we're in an uptrend. And volume-wise, we are above high average trade size activity, which is the professional activity down here. So we're in an uptrend. 135-minute chart, still backgrounds in red, you can see here on the left-hand side. I use the 135-minute chart because there are exactly 3 135-minute bars in a day session of the E-mini. It's a little bit of an unusual time frame. You don't see many people pulling up 135-minute charts, but that's the reason for it. And you can see this week we had some Rambo patterns pop up, and that was the 2 days before, prior to the Fed announcement. It was pretty quiet, not a lot going on. The average trade size was low. During the trading on FOMC, the trade size was very low, and so we had amateur bars on the tip-bar charts, 13,500 tip-bar chart, which is normal because all the bots are using that low average trade size to just go up and down and freak everybody out. But we had quiet trading, and then some good trading to the upside after FOMC, but on the 135-minute chart just shows we're in an uptrend. 45-minute chart. Okay, here we go. Now, this was interesting a few weeks ago where we had the sell-off here. We had professionals taking profits after a Rambo pattern. Okay, so the professionals know where the amateurs are once we've seen the Rambo patterns. They use that activity when we push back up, bust some stops above the amateur bars there, and then they sell it down. But then they picked it up, which was, what, 150 points, something like that, on that decline. You can see the backgrounds in blue, which means super high average trade size. Those are big pro bars coming in here, and we bounced from there. But now we've been ratcheting up the trailing stop on better pro-am here. So you can see on this little dip, the professionals came in. They came in on that little dip. Let me just bump this up so you can see that in a little bit more detail. So on the dip, the professionals came in. On the dip, the professionals came in. And this activity is different. We got professionals coming in on the rise to new highs up here. And we got a little bit rejection on Friday, the last bar on Friday, there. That's important for me. And again, it's Rambo patterns and blue professional bars. So we know what the amateurs are doing. We know where their stops are sitting above there, and we take them out and we use all of that activity to have blue professional bars. Average trade size bumps up. Not unlike this move. But the trailing stop on the 45-minute chart is a ways away, so that'll take a while to break down. Also in terms of momentum, volume momentum, nothing happened here in terms of exhaustion patterns there. Yep, as we go through this rise, you can see the peaks in better momentum are getting lower and lower and lower, and this peak barely cracked the zero line, so that's not good in terms of additional momentum. But the market also likes to turn around on extremes, exhaustion patterns. So we could come back up and have an exhaustion pattern on this time frame. Next chart, 15-minute chart. Here we put in the vertical solid yellow lines to show the beginning and the ends of the week. And so there's that blue professional bars, big pro bars coming in on the dip here. They also came in here to get the move going. And then with this week's activity, last week we ended up with Rambo patterns at the end of the week. This week's activity, there's those big pro bars coming in, blue professional bars. The blue squares are professionals active at new highs or new lows, so those are super important. So we got a lot of activity going on there. I think that was Thursday where we had all of that activity after the exhaustion sell down here. We didn't get exhaustion buy. That would have been great if that signal had gone off here, but the reading on this exhaustion sell was 23.3 exhaustion, 23.3 million, and the peak of this was 20.2 million, so it didn't qualify as an exhaustion pattern, but it was a decent read there. Again, the trailing stop tightened up a little bit, so we're still 40-50 points away in terms of that trailing stop, but that's important. So that's the 15-minute chart there. And again, on the 15-minute chart, last 3 weeks, we've been in an uptrend. The background's in red, the trailing stop is red. So let's see if we get a change in that. In terms of cyclical patterns here, yeah, we've overshot in terms of the resistance on the highest time frame, pull back to end of trend on the lowest time frame, pull back to end of trend on the intermediate time frame. So that's a shoulder, that's a head. Are we going to be starting to break supports so that the bars will turn white and we turn ourselves into a proper downtrend there? Wait and see. And lastly, the 13,500 tip bar chart on the mini. Again, beginning and ends of the weeks with the solid yellow lines here. So this is last week's activity. That's why I thought we might set up for a short trade last week, because at the end of the week we had a whole bunch of blue professional bars coming on the 13,000. And we didn't get a break. We had a lot of volatility here. This was the quiet 2 days leading into FOMC. And there's all the FOMC activity. All amateur bars, all yellow bars here, very low average trade size, and the bots are just pushing up and down and up and down. We end up with a whole bunch of Rambo patterns here. Exhaustion sell, bullish divergence. We get a signal short, but it's Rambo patterns and it's weak, and we bounce almost straight away and we continue to new highs. But then, beginning at the end of this week, similar to the end of last week, we got blue professional bars, the highs. The background's not in blue, which I would have liked big pro bars to show up here, but at least we've got some blue professional bars taking profits on the 13,500 tip bar chart. So yeah, we did get a signal this week, but it didn't go anywhere because it was driven by the amateurs, and we ended up bouncing off there, taking people out on stops. Yep, in terms of cyclical patterns, pull back to end of trend on the highest time frame here. So let's see what we do. Let's see if we get a little bit of backwards and forwards early in the week, and then finally get a nice sell-off to the downside. So there we go. Those are the tip bar charts. I'm going to draw your attention to one of the lower time frame charts. So this is the 500 and the 1500 tip bar chart. So for my personal day trading, I like using these two time frames together. Trade in the direction of the 1500 tip bar chart and then taking breaks on the 500 tip bar chart. So we break into a new uptrend here, we get a signal, we go long here. We're in an uptrend the whole time, so each of these signals long are good places to get long. You wouldn't take this short trade or this short trade because of the direction of the highest time frame. But what I want to draw your attention to is what happened on the 1500 tip bar chart, 11 a.m. here, these bars. That is killing feels. So the market's trying to break down. Okay, here's the overnight activity. We're bouncing off Rambo patterns. The blue professional bars have come in here at the beginning of the day. Let me just go back a fraction. There we go. Blue professional bars selling it down, and the market's weak. We come back to test with a flush pattern, down, down, down. Background's in grey, but down here we get some squeeze patterns. So we've got everything coming together in terms of support and resistance, and then we get this. Over the course of like 3 or 4 minutes, this thing just took out. I mean, how many points do we go up? 10, 15 points. Bang, bang, bang. Blue professional bars just buying this thing. continuously. That is killing fields. There's no blue professional bars taking profits at the lows. They saw this and they just bought everything in the stack. They're taking people out on stops. They're getting people reversed around on their trades in order to get short. Okay, so that leads to a whole bunch of profit taking up here, exhaustion, buy patterns, bearish divergence, big pro bars, blue professional bars, all of that activity. That's what I want to see for a reversal trade, and it's being led by the professionals, forcing this into this what I call killing fields. It's like this area, everybody thinks the trend has changed into an uptrend. No, they're just using all of that strength in order to get short. The signal that will prove that that is what was going on is the break of that sequence, whether it's the high to low of the sequence there, certainly the low of that sequence at 66.95, but around that the 6700 number is key. It's the middle of that range there. So what you could see after this is a whole bunch of just backwards and forwards playing out as the professionals are using any strength in that post exhaustion play to get short, and then as soon as we break 6700 on the way down, that's showing that that whole sequence was about orchestrating, gaming that market into a killing fields where they're just taking short trades with that strength that comes into the market. So let's see. That is the theory. That's my observations on what's going on. You could see it on the lower time frames as I line these up. That was what was going on the 500 tip bar chart. Just bang, bang, bang. So Emini charts done. Let us talk about the 4 trades that set up this week and show you how they played out. I was wondering last week what the direction of the Forex markets was going to be, and we had a whole bunch of blue professional bars coming in over the course of a week or so on the Euro chart, and we finally got resolution, and they just bought everything in sight here at the beginning of the week, end of last week, beginning of the week. There's the vertical yellow solid line for the weekly close. We got a signal long, bang, and this thing ran nicely on the euros. So from 118 to 119.80 or so, and then ended up with rainbow patterns at the highs, and then we dropped off from there. So that was a nice setup from last week that played out this week. Similar type pattern in wheat. So again, backgrounds in blue, the bars are blue, blue squares around the bars, a whole bunch of high average trades, professional activity happening here. Market runs nicely and into a rainbow pattern up at those highs. So it just ran that far and then weakened from there. It's come back down into that zone. So let's see if it bounces from there. In terms of the euro, we've not seen any blue professional bars come in here at that point. So, but a similar type trade in wheat. Silver also had a very nice run this week. Here's the beginning of the week, topped out, blue professional bars taking profits. We signaled into a downtrend, and then a whole bunch of blue professional bars came in. We didn't have blue boxes, but we had blue professional bars, backgrounds and big pro bars. We break into an uptrend, bang. We didn't get a signal like this with the dotted lines because we didn't have one of those blue boxes at the lows, but we had signs of strength going on here. So silver did very nicely, catching at 42. 42 used to be an unheard of price because we were used to be playing around at the 25s. Now 40, 41, 42 looks like bargain as we head back up to 43s and exhaustion patterns on silver. So that was number 3 for this week. And number 4 trade was a short trade on crude. There we go. Blue boxes, blue bars, backgrounds in blue. High average trade size, big professionals playing in here, beginning midweek and 64.50. We got our signal short, bang, we're in a downtrend. Blue professional bars come in here, but let's see, that was a nice trade to the downside. What is that? $2 on crude. So there we go. That is 4 trades. That's the pattern I'm looking for. Big pro bars. What are the professional doing? And can we trade immediately after them? I don't want to see very much activity backwards and forwards afterwards. I want to see move straight away. This is why the euro trade was difficult over the last week and a half, because we didn't know what was going on here with all of these blue professional bars, but as soon as we saw that, we had resolution. So there we go, 4 trades looking at big pro bars. Let us see what is potentially lining up for this next week. And again, there are 4 trades, 3 markets, the bonds, the notes and the bonds. We've got the 10-year notes here and big pro bars coming in here at the lows. So FOMC comes in and the market sells off. although the cut rate's 25 basis points, so it's counterintuitive. Rates going down, bonds should go up, but they didn't. They weakened, but the blue professional bars have come in here. Hasn't set up quite yet, but let's see if we break above 113 on the 10 years. 30 years are looking more interesting. There's more blue professional bars coming in here. Again, they sold off, and we have blue professional bars come in here. Exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, Rambo patterns right at the lows there. But again, we're looking for a break above 116 and a bit, 117 there for confirmation of that trade. So let's see if we get that on bonds this week. Natural gas, similar thing, a whole bunch of blue professional bars. Topped out, exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, Rambo patterns at 315, and we've come back in at 285, 290. Whole bunch of blue professional bars. Not broken back into an uptrend yet, but let's see if we get that. Similar thing, blue professional bars and Rambo patterns. Rambos, amateurs being wrong-footed. Here we go. We've got blue professional bars and Rambo patterns, amateurs being wrong-footed. So let's see if we get a nice trade on natural gas this week. And then lastly, soybeans. So this week's activity topped out, blue professional bars, got a signal short, but then on the reverse, whole bunch of blue professional bars down at, what is that, between 10.24 and 10.30 or so. All the blue professional bars come in. Exhaustion sell, bullish divergence. We've got our trailing stop here. We have not turned around yet, but that's a setup potentially for a reversal trade in soybeans, natural gas, bonds, and notes. So there we go, some thoughts for trades this week, and good luck with your trading.